How is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of Bear Down Uncut, where we talk everything Bears every day of the week. Today, in episode number 87 of Uncut, we are going to be talking about the importance of the Bears' wide receivers stepping up in the Week 3 matchup with the Atlanta Falcons. I am your host, Chris Maltby, and today to talk about the Bears' wide receiving corps, I am joined with both of my co-hosts, Parth Shaw and Jalen McClinton. How's it going, guys?
A little worried. The Bears game could get postponed tomorrow. Falcons.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
All right, but yeah, just a little worried about that right now.
Yeah, same here. But I think this is the first time cut with the new mics, so that's about it. Bears play tomorrow, so yeah.
Yeah. So taking a look at this game tomorrow, Parth mentioned it might be canceled. I don't think it's going to. Jason Leeser of the Chicago Sun-Times said there was no indication that it's going to be postponed or canceled. But Falcons cornerback A.J. Terrell is being placed on the reserve COVID list and is out for Sunday's game against the Bears. He becomes the first NFL player this season to miss a game due to COVID. So that game might be canceled, postponed. All NFL players wear tracking devices, so contact tracing is relatively easy for the teams. So that's what the Falcons are currently doing. If no one was within 6 feet of Terrell for 15 straight minutes, tests positive or shows any symptoms, then no impact should be made on anyone's status for game day. So not terrible, not great, but we are here to talk about the Bears' wide receiving corps today because obviously Terrell is out. He is their cornerback one. We've seen the struggles that Isaiah Oliver has had, and they're also going to be missing another cornerback in Kyle Sheffield. So let's just hop right into this one. Look, last week against the Giants, we saw Anthony Miller basically have a no-show of a game. I think we can all agree to that. Miller was targeted 3 times, didn't catch any of the balls, and it's been an issue for Miller throughout his career, at least in my opinion. In some instances, showing that he can be a game-changing wide receiver. In other instances, when they need him to come up big, he can really be a thorn in their side. So I think he has to get the consistency down personally, and this is going to be a big week for him. So, Parth, I want to start with you. How important is it that Miller steps up in this game? Obviously, we originally thought that Isaiah Oliver was going to be on him, but now he is on Allen Robinson, who is another player who's looking to have a bounce-back game after being targeted 9 times and only catching 3 balls on Sunday. But how important is this game for Miller facing a possible cornerback 3 or cornerback 4?
I think it's a very important game. Week 1, he showed a lot of promise at the end of the game. At the end of the game, Miller was absolutely phenomenal. He had great catches. And then week 2, he just drops 2 easy catches that Trubisky threw to him, which is very frustrating to watch because that definitely would have changed the outcome of the game. I feel like the Bears would have blew out the Giants if Miller caught that touchdown in the first quarter or had that third down conversion catch. I think it was in the third quarter. It definitely turned the events, definitely put the offense to lose some confidence. If Anthony Miller shows out this week, which I expect him to against this week Atlanta secondary, which is only getting weaker due to injuries, and now A.J. Terrell tested positive to COVID. So if that secondary is weak, I think Trubisky and him should have a pretty good day together. Hopefully Anthony Miller can step it up because he has been very inconsistent at times. Last week, I was one who was very vocal about him, and I expressed that I did not enjoy watching Anthony Miller at all. I was very upset. I think he pissed off many of us Bears fans. He's shown us so many positives, but at the same time, way too many negatives, and it's just balances each other out, and it's just too much inconsistency, which we've seen basically from every single player from this team so far this year.
Yeah, no kidding. Jalen, obviously we saw Anthony Miller show out in week 1, averaging 19 yards per catch against the Detroit Lions, also catching the game-winning touchdown. He was targeted 6 times in that game and caught 4 balls, obviously a lot better than his week 2 outcome. I expect him to have a bounce-back game here, but how important is it that Miller gets back on track this week?
He has to be. Coming into the season, he's our wide receiver too. But he obviously, mostly plays out the side. But he's still the second option when it comes to receivers and stuff like that. So if it's always been, about being consistent for Anthony Miller. Last year the first couple games he didn't play good, and then he'll have one game where he had 70 yards and a couple receptions, and then the next game where he's disappeared. So coming into this season, especially after his good week 1 performance, I expected Anthony Miller to have a huge year three, possibly go over 1,000 yards or get something close to that. He's definitely a playmaker. He showed it before in his rookie season and last year that when given the opportunity to, he gets open. He gets a lot of separation. He makes big catches when he actually catches the ball and stuff like that. He's a great slot receiver, and he gives Mitch another option to throw it to. But if he continues to play inconsistent like he has in the first 2 weeks of the season, I could see Darnell Mooney getting some of his reps. Darnell Mooney already played more snaps than he did in week 2 of the season. And Darnell Mooney is a 5th round pick rookie as is a 5th round pick. In a rookie, and Anthony Miller it was our 2nd round pick, and he's in his 3rd year. So if he needs to show up. This Atlanta Falcons secondary is already depleted, and they just lost considerably their best cornerback this season so far. So he definitely needs to have a big game against the Atlanta Falcons if he wants to continue to be looked at as the number 2 wide receiver.
Both Darnell Mooney and Javon Wims had more snaps played for Bears wide receivers against the Giants than Anthony Miller. Miller with 26, Wims with 29, and Mooney with 13 more snaps than Miller with 39. So that's definitely an interesting point you bring up, that the Bears are obviously still looking to increase Darnell Mooney's impact in these games, and that's something we'll get to a little bit later. But now it's time to talk a little bit about Allen Robinson. Obviously, we know what's been going on with him recently. He's vying for a contract extension, and this is going to have to be a game where he proves where he proves his value. If he wants to get that $18 million contract, if he wants that money that AJ Green's getting, that Tyreek Hill's getting, that Keenan Allen's getting, and even a little bit more than what Robert Woods just signed an extension to. He's going up against Isaiah Oliver, a cornerback who has struggled a lot. He's allowed 10 receptions thus far throughout 2 weeks, which is tied for 13th in the league. He's also been targeted the 11th most times in the league. It seems like it's going to be turning into a day where Trubisky could put up some huge numbers, especially if Takk McKinley and Dante Fowler Jr. miss this one. They're both listed as questionable. But Parth, I'm going to circle it back around to you. Allen Robinson has quite the advantageous matchup in this game with A.J. Terrell, someone who's earned a PFF grade of only 58.5 thus far this season. How important is it that Allen Robinson has a big game and proves to be that number one target that Trubisky relies on so much?
I think he'll have a great game regardless. I think last week a lot of fans on Twitter went off against Robinson, for not having a good game or for letting James Bradbury basically manhandle him on the second interception. Allen Robinson did not have a good game last week. I feel like most of the wide receivers didn't have a good game besides Darnell Mooney. So I think it's going to be a bounce back game for all the wide receivers, especially Allen Robinson, who wants that new contract for the Bears. He is a phenomenal wide receiver. He's their wide receiver 1. He's a top 10 wide receiver in this league. And if he starts playing like it, I think this week he will. Against this week Atlanta secondary, I think Trubisky's going to find him open a lot. That's Trubisky's go-to. Whenever Trubisky's under pressure or whenever he's got no one else to throw to, who do you throw to? Allen Robinson, and he basically catches almost everything that's thrown at him, most of the time especially. We've seen him have some great catches so far this year, and we've seen his downsides as well. But, that's part of the game. That's part of this Bears football team that's been inconsistent all year. Hopefully against Atlanta, Allen Robinson and the troops can be more consistent.
Yeah, 100%. And it seemed like Allen Robinson was in a world of his own last week, just taking a look at some of that footage in the game. I understand why he's mad. I mean, you see the Bears pay a guy like Tariq Cohen. You see online that it's probably confirmed that they're going to have a visit with Damone Harrison later this week and hopefully sign him. That would be a big ad for the Bears, and we'll probably put a video out on that later next week after he visits with the Bears. We've already done one on him earlier in the season, but I'm getting a little bit off topic. Look for that next week if that's what you want to see, as long as obviously he doesn't sign with another team this weekend. But yeah, Allen Robinson did look like he was in a world of his own last weekend. We saw him sitting on the bench, didn't look happy whatsoever. It was a weird week for him. He was targeted 9 times, only 3 catches for 33 yards, but he's got a matchup this week that is looking very good for him. So Jalen, how important is it that Allen Robinson, a player who has shown that he could step up in the past, had a little bit of an off week, but was still decently reliable in week 2. How important is it that he has a big game against Isaiah Oliver, one of the cornerbacks that's struggling more than anyone in this league?
It's very important. Like Park said, Allen Robinson is a top 10 receiver. He's Mitch's go to weapon, and I don't blame him. When Mitch feels like he's pressured and he just has to throw the ball up, he throws it to his best receiving, and Allen Robinson has proved on why he should be relied on. He's made great catches in the first 2 weeks. He's been very reliable in the 2 seasons he's been here so far. So I definitely think that contract is getting to him. Like you said, he seemed off, very,
In his
like
own world, in his own head type.
acting very weird. He was seemed very frustrated and stuff like that. And like I said, I think this contract is getting to him. So if he can get back on track like we know he can, and play like Allen Robinson, I'm pretty sure. He's gonna act like himself for the rest of the season. Against Isaiah Oliver, I think Isaiah Oliver, in top five for most yards giving up in the first 2 weeks of the season with almost 200 yards or something like that. So he's been getting burned. He can't guard anybody, and with him probably being the number one receiver guarding Allen Robinson this week, that's a perfect opportunity for Allen Robinson to get back on track. So I think it's very important.
Yeah, Robinson's contract is definitely an interesting situation. He's said since the beginning of the season that it's not something that he's going to be worried about. It's not going to affect his play. But you know what? Tariq Cohen, when he was extended, he lobbied for Robinson, saying that he left some money on the plate for Robinson. And then Robinson comes out 2 days ago and says, we know where we stand on contract talks. So, he might be in his head a little bit. I think that's a good point that Jalen and Parth both bring up. I sure hope it doesn't affect his play, though, this week, because the Bears are going to need a big, big game out of him. So we'll see where it goes. But Allen Robinson definitely should have a big week. It's going to be a player who's targeted a lot, I would assume, in this Week 3 matchup. Finally, heading on to another player that has continued to surge on throughout the season, Darnell Mooney. He's someone who we can't stop talking about, really, on this channel. He had 39 snaps last week. We saw him also have a good week in week 1, catching 3 balls for 38 yards. Also had very similar production last week and added a touchdown. So, Parth, I want to swing it back to you. Just doesn't need to be a long answer, but the Bears say they're going to try to continue to get him more involved in the offense, and I think everyone's liked what they've seen so far out of the 5th-round pick out of Tulane. So, do you think his role will continue to increase in this offense, especially if guys like Anthony Miller struggle?
Yeah, definitely. I think Darnell Mooney's becoming a solid wide receiver for the Bears, especially in the future. He's got the speed. He's got the route running. He's been impressive so far. That touchdown catch he had last week, Trubisky trusted him to go up on a 50-50 ball. That's a rookie right there going up for a 50-50 ball, and he caught it. He brought it down with him. If he can keep proving to us Bears fans that he's talented, which I do think he is, I think it'll be fun to watch him grow here in Chicago. He's had 2 games so far, touchdown and almost like 75 yards through 2 games. I think he's going to keep getting better. And he's shown more production than a lot of rookie wide receivers that were taking in the 1st round this year. So that's one thing to keep an eye out for. I think that Ryan Pace has found another gem in the 5th round.
Jalen, what do you think? It doesn't need to be much of an answer. I got to agree with Parth. I think Darnell Mooney only needs more and more reps as we move forward. But do you think his role in this offense continues to increase after we saw a week where Ted Ginn was a healthy scratch as well as Riley Ridley, and Mooney got more snaps than guys like Anthony Miller? Do you think his role continues to increase moving forward?
Yeah, like I said, I already think he's technically the wide receiver 3 on this team. Like you said before, Ted Ginn was inactive last week, and Nagy tried to play it off and say it was just on the game plan. But I do feel like Darnell Mooney already took his spot, 2 weeks in. Ted Ginn is a veteran, and, he's been in the league. He's been in the league a very long time, but Darnell Mooney had just played better than him, and he took that spot over. And as the season gets, progresses and Darnell Mooney gets his feet, more wet into his offense and, in the NFL in general, he's going to be a huge addition to this offense. He already is in the first 2 weeks, and I just think he's gonna get better as the season goes on.
Yes, the Bears wide receivers will look to step up this weekend at Atlanta, playing a depleted defense that could be missing a ton of pieces. It's going to be very vital that the Bears' receiving corps as well as Mitchell Trubisky step up if they want to win this game. And we didn't even talk about the tight ends either. Those tight ends are going to have to continue to get more involved. You actually compare how the Bears' tight ends did the first 2 weeks in 2019 versus 2020. The Bears, if their tight ends continue to produce at this level throughout the season, which I hope wouldn't be the case, obviously, they would actually produce less than the Bears' tight ends did in 2019, which definitely wouldn't be a good sign. So those tight ends are going to have to continue to get involved in this offense. They're going to have a tough task. Keanu Neal's still playing, as well as Deion Jones, but I'm hoping they will get involved. I'm getting a little bit off track, but thank you guys so much for tuning into episode number 87 of Uncut. So crazy that we're already almost getting to 100 episodes of these. We just started this series back in what seems like May, and you guys have absolutely loved it. So do us a favor, if you are new to the channel and you made it this far in the video, click that red button to subscribe if you want Bears content every day of the week. Also, be sure to drop a like on this video and click the bell for notifications from us. If you want more content from us, head over to our website, beardown.com. We post columns, articles, and blogs almost every day of the week over there. You can also find the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at beardown, and you can find the links to all of our social media pages down in the description. Parshaw, Jalen McClinton, the time to talk is over. I'm heading to the Colts game tomorrow, but I'll be monitoring this Bears game 100% of the way. Any last words?
I'm just hoping we play. A little scary situation. When I woke up and saw those news, I was a little scared of seeing COVID pop up in the Falcons. Hopefully they can play. If not, I hope we can play another day. I just want our players to be safe and COVID free at the end of the day.
Yeah, same here. Like I said before, I would rather us play, but if it is very serious, keep our players safe. The players' health is more important to me than a football game. But other than that, bear down.
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, I think everyone can agree that the health of all these athletes and the health of everyone on this planet is more important than a football game. But hopefully we'll be able to get this one in tomorrow. It's looking like signs are pointing towards a game being played. But it's been a pleasure to be your host. Once again, my name is Chris Malpe. The Bears will look to move to 3-0 tomorrow, and hopefully their wide receivers will give them some help, because it's definitely another big opportunity for the Bears as wide receivers and Mitchell Trubisky to be able to take advantage of another secondary. That'll pretty much do it for us, guys. As always, stay safe and bear down. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.